Hello everybody, Zachary Fruhling, aka CozyAzeroth here. I am working my way through an old TI Basic programming book, 101 Programming Tips and Tricks for the Texas Instruments TI-99 4A home computer, and I am up to program number 33, Categorizing. I'm going to read the program description. I'm going to get into Classic 99, TI-99 4A emulator, get into TI Basic, type the program in, run it, and see what we can make it do, see what we can learn from it. So 33, categorizing. A large quantity of numbers can be categorized and thereby cut down into a smaller quantity of numbers. See our example. It takes test scores and divides them into ranges labeled A, B, C, D, and F. The program assumes exam or test scores in a range of 0 to 100. The letter grades include 0 to 59, which is an F, 60 to 69 a D, 71 to 79 is a C. I think I meant 70 to 79, I'm not sure about that. 80 to 89 B, and 90 to 100 an A. Key in, oh hey Etheria, what's my name? My name is Zachary. Yeah. Zach is fine. Zach or Zachary, either one. Key in is Z-A-C-H-A-R-Y, actually. Zachary. Key in as many scores as you like, and then enter the letter X to stop the entry cycle. How are you this evening, Etheria? Thank you for tuning in. It's nice to see people tuning in, especially on these programming streams. Yep, that's it. You got it. Okay, I'm going to keep reading here, sorry. Lines 100 through 140 sort all scores into the A through F categories. Lines 150 through 170 sort highest and lowest scores. Line 200 finds mid-range and average scores. Yeah, it's Zachary. Fruhling is my last name. It's a German name. It's springtime. Yeah, so let's get into TI Basic. If you're not familiar... Oh, doing good. Eating all week because you've been here. It's sort of 4th of July. Last name Fruhling. Here, I'll put it in the, there you go, in the chat there. I don't know if you're familiar with this computer system or not, but it is a Texas Instruments TI-99 4A home computer from the late 70s, early 80s. And this was my favorite computer system when I was a kid, although I am using an emulator now, so I'm on my PC and emulating this old computer system. Brutal. Fruhling is brutal. Yeah, I mean springtime. It's one of the seasons. So Fruhling is literally the German word for springtime. The season, spring. So I'm going to alternate between chatting with you and typing this program in. So the first line of the program is call clear. That clears the screen. I'll try to explain what's going on a bit as I go. If you happen to be watching. Okay, 20 print. This is obvious. Prints. Type in a group of scores. Type in a group of scores. No punctuation or anything yet. So the nice thing about programming in BASIC, which is a relatively old programming language, is that it's really human readable. It's a high-level programming language. A lot of the statements make sense even if you've never seen programming before. Be around for about 10 minutes. Cool. Yeah, hang out for 10 minutes, and I'll type this in while we chit chat. Okay, print from 0 to 100, one at a time. From, let's see, is it a numeral 0? Yep. I'm going to type it exactly as written. To 100, one at a time. And this book that I'm typing from is a book I used to have when I was a kid, which is why I thought to do some of these videos based on this book. There's 101 programming tips and tricks for this computer system. And so I have probably typed all of these programs in at one time or another. 40, print, that just prints a blank line. 50, print, enter an X after last score. Enter an X after last score. Yeah, I used to carry this book around and pore over it when I was supposed to be doing other things at school. So 60, print. So far it's just print statements. Piece of cake. And so 70, so if you look right here, this line 70, input score, that just asks you to input a score and stores the inputted value as this value right here, G, and the dollar sign means a string, like a text string. So it takes whatever you enter and just stores it as a text string. So let's enter that 70 input. So I'm asking for input from the user. Score, and again I'm going to type it exactly as written for historical purposes here. And we're going to call that G, and I call it $, but G string, which is kind of funny. But it's that's a string variable as opposed to a numeric variable, string of text. Okay, 80 if G string equals X. If G string equals X, so this is pretty readable, right? It's just an if-then statement. If G string equals X, then 200. That means go to line 200. So it's a way of branching a program. If this condition is met, go to this line number. If a different condition is met, go to a different line number. Okay, for some reason we have 85 here as opposed to 90, so 85, G equals the value, so it's going to take that text string, which is really a number, and convert it to a number, the value of G string. So we can do some math with it. Okay, 90, n equals n plus 1. Basically, the n probably keeps track of how many scores we've entered, so we can do some math, averages and whatnot. So every time we enter a value, it increments the value of n, adds 1 to it. Okay, 100. If G is less than 60, then 104. If G is less than 60, then 104. Okay. I don't know why the numbers skip around so much. I would have renumbered them if I were authoring this book. Okay, 102, go to line 110. Go to is pretty self-explanatory. Go to 110. 104, f equals f plus 1. Probably keeping track of the number of f's here, basically where this program is taking a bunch of like test scores from 0 to 100 and categorizing them based on letter grade. So this is keeping track of the number of f's. That's what this chunk is doing. 106, go to 150. Okay. 110. If G is less than 70, is that what it said? Then 114. 112, go to 120. Okay, 114. D equals D plus 1, so keeping track of the number of people that got a D score. And 116, go to 150. There's a pattern here, but I'm not bothering to pay too much attention to it. Let's see, 120. If G is less than 80, then 124. And we have 122, go to 130. 124. C equals C plus 1. Number of C's, so just categorizing all of our scores into ranges here. 126, go to 150. 130, if G is less than 90, G is less than 90, then should be what, 134, is that right? Yep, 134. 132, go to 140. So the line numbers are somewhat arbitrary. When you're programming in BASIC, it's conventional to do them by units of 10, so you can insert more lines if you need to, but for some reason this author hasn't done that. Maybe he started out that way and fleshed it out by adding incremental lines, and that's why we ended up with the program we've got here. But it doesn't really matter as long as they're internally consistent. Okay, so 132, 134, B equals B plus 1. B equals B plus 1, so that's keeping track of the number of people that got a B score. 136, go to 150. Okay, let's scroll a little bit here. Okay, 140, A equals A plus 1. A equals A plus 1, number of people that got an A score. Okay, now 150, if N equals 1, then 154. 152, go to 160. 154, L equals G. 156, H equals G. 158, go to 180. These old type-in programs, even simple ones, took a bit of time back in the day. 160. If G is less than L, then 164. 162, go to 170. 164, L equals G. 170, if G is greater than H. Then 174. 172, go to 180. 174, H equals G. Do you have any programming experience if you're still watching? 180, S equals S plus G. Okay, 190, go to 70. 200, P equals S divided by N. 210, okay, we got to be careful here, got a little math formula. M equals L plus, okay, parenthesis, parenthesis, H minus L. In parenthesis, divided by 2, in parenthesis. Okay, 230, print there were in scores. Wait, did I miss a line there? Oh yeah, 220, call clear. 230, call clear just clears the screen. Print there were, space, I think I saw semicolon in semicolon. There were in space scores, end quote, and 240 print, okay, it's a long program, relatively long, 240 print ranging from, oh, okay, ranging from L to H, I can figure that out. L to space H, quote, oh, actually we don't need this, boom, boom, ranging from L to space on either side of 2, semicolon, H. That looks right. Okay. A few more lines here. 250 print. It's one of the meatier programs in this book. 260 print mid-range. Mid-range. Okay. And we have, I'm going to do it exactly as typed. I'm not sure about the spacing here, comma M. 270 print average. So comma P. 280 print. 290 print totals. Is there no colon or anything? 300 print. Okay, so we have A colon comma A. Let's just take a look at the next lines. 310. Okay, so A, B, C, D, F. Got it. 310 print B, comma B. It does a comma, right? Yeah. 320 print C, comma C. 330 print D, comma D. Comma is a spacer, and then the letters on the right are the variables A, B, C, D, which stand for the number of people that learned those earned those scores, and the text inside quotes here is printed exactly as written. So those aren't variables; those are just text strings. 340 print F, comma F. Okay, let's make sure we're on track here. Yep, that was 340. Then we have 3 blank print lines. Make sure check the line numbers here. No, 400 print. 410 print, 420 print, okay, 430 print for more, press any key, for more, press any key, 440 call key, and in this version of BASIC, this is what's listening for a key press. Call key 0, Z, X. Okay, 450. If X equals 0, then 440. So basically we're just going to get stuck in a loop until we get a key press. Let's see, 460. Okay, then this resets all the values at the end of the program. Okay, 460, A equals 0. It's by increments of 10. 60, yeah, it looks like it. Okay, so let's do A through F here. 470, B equals 0. 480, C equals 0. So in other words, when we move on to when we go back up to the top of the program, we want to clear out the value of all those variables so they're cleared and we can enter a new batch of values. You know, it looks complicated, but you know, if you take any one of these lines, like for example, right here, 260 print mid-range. Okay, so it prints that piece of text. This is just a spacer, and then whatever the value of M is, you must be familiar with the concept of a variable, right? So whatever value M has, it prints that value there. And then I already scrolled past it, but like this, you know, these input statements here, like way up here. Input a score, okay? Just prints this phrase score on the screen, and then whatever you input as the user just gets stored as a value. And then this is an if-then statement. If that value equals X, then go to a certain line number. You know, it is complicated, but it's also really not. You know, it's the nice thing about this language in particular. It's an old programming language, but the nice thing is it's incredibly human readable. So as long as you're familiar with the concept of a variable and you can think through an if-then statement, you can track the line numbers. Each language has its own, quirks and syntax you have to learn. There's no way around that in programming, but it's incredibly doable one piece at a time, right? You don't have to understand the whole thing at once. You just need to understand 1 or 2 line numbers at once and how they connect to other line numbers, and just kind of build more complicated programs from there. I mean, I literally did this when I was probably typing this program in when I was like 6 years old. So if a 6-year-old can figure it out, most people can probably figure it out. It's not too complicated. Okay, we were at 480. Okay, so 490, d equals 0. I was fortunate to have computers from the time I was a little kid. My dad liked computers at the time, and although he kind of outgrew computers, he became a bit of a kind of a Luddite in his later years. But I was fortunate to be raised with computers, so I was typing programs like this in when I was a tiny little kid. I mean, literally by the time I went to kindergarten, I was the only kid in class who knew how to write programs in BASIC like this. And so in first grade, the teacher let me sit in the back of the classroom one day a week and call other kids to the back of the school, back to the classroom and at the computer and teach them how to use the computer. And that was an Apple II way back in the day, probably 1983, give or take, maybe 1984. Okay, so 510, h equals 0. So we're just clearing out all these other variables, the ones we use for the average and the highest and the lowest scores. So 520, L equals 0. That's all we're doing right now, is resetting everything back to 0 when the program ends and loops back to the beginning for a new set of numbers. 530, was it N equals 0? Yep, N equals 0. 540, S equals 0. And finally, this should be obvious, 550, go back to 20, go to line 20. Go to 20, and that is the entire program. So let me clear the screen. I'm going to type list, which lists out the entire program. All I'm doing now is just kind of skimming, looking for errors. There might still be some, just because I don't see it doesn't mean there aren't any errors, but I'm looking for obvious, glaring typos and syntax errors, things like that. So once I list the program, we're going to run it. So hope you stick around for a minute to you watch me type this in. Let's run the program and see how we did. Run. It'll take a second to parse there we go. Type in a group of scores from 0 to 100, one at a time. Enter an X after the last score. Okay, so let's just do a set of numbers here. Let's say we're doing test scores. Let's say someone got an 85, and someone got a 92, and someone got a 97, and someone got a 72, and one person was terrible and they got a 47 and they failed. And let's say we got a really awesome student who did 99, and let's say we got another B in there, like a high B, like an 89, and someone got a D, they're just barely skating by, they got like a 68, not quite passing. Another person that just phoned it in and they got like 20, they didn't do very good. Okay, so there's our group of test scores. And when it says we're enter an X after the last score. So this is going to function very much like what we saw in the code, right? So we're going to type an X. There were 9 scores. Oop, I have a typo there. Ranging, it's supposed to be ranging from 20 to 99. The mid-range was 59.5. Average was 74 and a third. And totals 3 A's, 2 B's, 1 C, 1 D, and 2 F's. Not a spectacular showing. Let's fix that problem. Ranging. Let's see if we can figure out what line that is. Ranging. So line 240. So we're going to list line 240. Oh, yep, there's my typo. 240 print ranging from L to H. The rest look pretty good. Works about as expected. So that will overwrite line 240, and now if we list the program out, when we get to line 240, it should have the new line number, or the new line that we entered in its place. There was nothing like a text editor. You had to retype a whole line. You couldn't just go make a surgical adjustment to one line back in the day. Yep, that looks good. Okay, let's run it. It takes a second for it to parse the program and get everything in memory. It's an old computer system, remember? Okay. You want to give me, if you're still watching, you want to give me a group of scores? Are you still there? Give me some scores. I'll type them in. It'll be fun. Group effort. Teamwork. Group project. Yep, 0 to 100. As if it were a small class taking a test or something. 4. Okay, that's a very low score. Terrible score. Okay. Like, really failing. $44. Okay, I love it. I see where you're going with this. Yeah, it doesn't matter how many. Just let me know when you're done so I know there aren't more coming. So, 80. Okay, I like it. B minus. Yep. Yeah, I'll leave it to you to tell me how many you want to give me. Okay, 21. Another failing score. Okay. $24. Oh, this is a really bad class. As a college teacher, this is a terrible class. There are classes like that. Sometimes you just get a group of students that are like that. And 88. Okay, I love it. Sometimes you get a hopeless class. There's very little you can do with. 94. Okay, there's a rock star. You give me as many as you want. Just let me know when you're done, so I know we can move on from there. Doesn't matter how many. It'll keep going. 14, and that's all. Is that it? Yep. Okay. So we're gonna hit X because we're done. There were 9 scores ranging from 4 to 94. The mid-range was 49. The average was 46 and 5/9, it looks like. And 1 A, 2 Bs, 0 Cs, 0 Ds, and 6 Fs. Pretty terrible. Pretty darn terrible. Anyways, that is a trial run of this program. So you can see that you could obviously use a calculator for this if you were a teacher, but this is a lot more pleasant, right? So these old computer systems really do have their advantages. They make it simple to write a little program like this that's highly useful, a nice little user interface, more fun to use than a calculator, and easier to program than in most modern programming languages. So I still think there's value in little programs like this. I used to sit there and calculate my grades by hand. It was a pain in the ass. I should have gone back to TI Basic and programmed my own little grade calculating program back when I was still teaching, which I'm not currently. Let's give it another run. Okay, type in a group of scores from 0 to 100, one at a time. So you have a few people watching, so if you're just tuning in, before I enter more scores, I am typing in this program number 33 from the book 101 Programming Tips and Tricks for the Texas Instruments TI-99 for a Home Computer, the cover of which looks like this. And I used to carry this book around when I was a little kid, and I got a bee in my bonnet to go back to it and start typing in these old programs one at a time. I'm going to do all 101 programs here. Not tonight. I'll do a couple of them tonight. So let's enter some scores. Let's say 89. Let's say we've got a person who's pretty good. He's on the cusp of an A+ here, gets a 97, or she. Let's say we have an awesome student, and she gets a 99. And let's say we've got a low B student, gets like an 83. Let's say we've got a student that's been busy all weekend, drinking all weekend, and they showed up, got a 37 on the test. So people use this before, right? Like on a daily basis. This book, I don't really know. I think this particular program, I have no idea. This book was designed to be like small code snippets, very small self-contained programs that either could be used in a standalone form or as part of a larger program. So I don't know if people actually use this for anything. I suspect that exactly as it is, it wasn't super useful, but I could imagine this being a basis for a slightly more useful program, calculating whatever you need to calculate. But I definitely did this when I was a kid. I had this book, and I used to have this computer system. I used to type these programs in all the time, and that's how I learned to program computers when I was a little kid. And I never became a software engineer by trade, but I've always had an interest in it. And to this day, I'm still messing around with it, and I'm doing some more modern programming, and I'm working on my own more modern video game now. And Professionally, I was a philosophy teacher, and I teach logic as part of teaching philosophy, and certainly the programming experience helped me teach logic, and the logic experience helps me with the programming for sure. But did people actually use this program? I have no idea. Maybe, I could see some teacher out there using it. I really don't know. I'd be curious to know myself. So let's say we get a couple C students here, like a straight up 75. Let's say someone got a C plus, like a 78. Someone just barely getting a C, like 71. I don't know, let's say we got a D student who's like 68. Let's say the class is pretty good. We got a few more Bs. We got an 87. Someone else got an 88. Even an 86. And maybe someone's like an A minus student, like they're getting an A but barely, and they're hoping for the best. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, Euphoria. I'm glad you could join us again. I'm doing lots of these retro programming streams, so say hi anytime. And, of course, we're doing World of Warcraft streaming and other retro gaming. We're not doing that. So, yeah, have a good night, and we'll catch you next time. And let's say we got an awesome student who gets 100. Okay, now we're going to hit X because that's the last score. Thank you very much. Have a good night. And let's see what the results are. 14 scores, ranging from 37 to 100. Mid-range was 68.5, a little better. Average, 82.0714287. We could round it up maybe. We could even add some code to round it up. Totals, 4 A's, 5 B's, 3 C's, 1 D, and 1 F. So even as, your question was, do people actually do this? Maybe. I think as a teacher, this information is pretty handy, commonly sought after information after a test. So, yeah, that is program number, I already scrolled. Let's get back down to it. Program number 33, Categorizing, from 101 Programming Tips and Tricks for the Texas Instruments TI-99 4A home computer. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm going to be starting and stopping the stream periodically because I want to make a separate video for each of these programs. So if you're still interested in watching more, come back in a few minutes. I'll be back in a few minutes with another program. Next one on the list, which is, might as well peek ahead here and take a look. The next one is called Alphabet Soup. I haven't done it yet. I don't remember what it is. We'll check it out in a few minutes. And in the meantime, if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, be sure to check out the rest of my YouTube channel for more Texas Instruments TI-99 4A retro programming, along with retro gaming and a lot of World of Warcraft live streaming and miscellaneous educational content on topics of interest to me professionally and personally. And if you're watching this live on Twitch, like a couple of you are right now, same thing, check out my YouTube channel. And if you're watching this on YouTube, check out my Twitch channel. You can find it under CozyAzeroth, my Twitch name. A little nod to World of Warcraft there. And in any case, I appreciate any likes and subscriptions, especially subscriptions, which help me out greatly in these challenging times. Thank you very much. I'll be back in just a little bit with the next video in the series. Take care if you are dropping from the stream.